So let's look at the second problem in this topic. So what we have is here is we are given a magnetic circuit. Okay, we are given a magnetic circuit, and we are told to find out the current in the coil, in this particular coil, the current that will produce a magnetic flux density of 1.5 Weber per meter square. So see when, assuming that mu equal to 50 mu naught, and that all the branches have same cross sectional area of 10 centimeter square. Okay, so what is given is you are told to find out this I. This I, when you pass a I through this particular coil, it is going to generate a magnetic flux, right, or magnetic field. That particular flux lines are going to flow something like in this direction, right? It's going to, because if you use the right hand rule, then curling my fingers in the all the four fingers in the direction of the current, and the thumb is the direction of your flux, right, flux lines. So this is the path which it is going to flow, and the same thing it's going to flow here, and it's going to flow here. So it's going to be like coming out like this, and then terminating something like this. Okay, so it's going to come all the way. It's going to be confined to the core. We are actually neglecting all the fringing fields, right? The fringing effects are being neglected. So this is your lines. This is how your lines are going to flow. The flux is going to flow. So the main thing is it's going to be in this direction. So yeah, so if there is a current which is flowing through this particular coil, you will get flux lines which will be going out in this direction, and will be coming in this particular direction, right? So that's how your flux lines are going to be, and they are going to be like confined to the core. We are neglecting the fringing fields or the fringing effects. So we assume that they are being confined to the core. Now this magnetic field is going to generate flux, because it's the core has got a cross sectional area, and the integral of that, you will get a flux, integral of flux density into area. Now one thing to note is we are told to find out the current I through the coil such that it generates a flux density of 1.5 Weber per meter square. So B is you want a desired B to be 1.5 Weber per meter square. Okay, Weber per meter square. Then another thing is you have a air gap here. So air gap is assuming that in the air gap, okay, yeah. So B here, the flux density in the air gap is what is needed. So if we neglect the fringing fields, then the flux density in the air gap and the core will remain same, right? We are neglecting the fringing effects. So the air gap and the core, the flux density will remain same. You are given a core which is having a mu of 50 into mu naught, right? 50 into mu naught. Mu naught is assumed to be, mu naught is the permeability of air. That's 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7. That is known. And the cross sectional area over the complete of the core is, it's uniform, and its cross section is given as, area is given as 10 centimeter square, right? These are the things which are known. What you will have to do is, first step is to create a magnetic circuit out of this particular device. The rule states that, when we looked at the conversion, we have to replace this guy, the coil, with a MMF, equivalent MMF, right? And this the core will be used and will be converted into a reluctance, right? This core will be redrawn as a reluctance. This coil will be redrawn as a supply with a MMF of whatever the value is, N into I. Okay, so the equivalent circuit will be like, if you look at this, if you just if I just wipe this off, what I will have is when I am converting my getting my magnetic circuit, what I will get is I will get a MMF here. Okay, I will get a air gap reluctance here with a length of 1 centimeter and mu of mu naught, right? I will get a reluctance for this part. I will get a reluctance for this part which will be in the core. Okay, now this flux density gets spread and the flux is moving in this direction, right? The flux is calculated for this guy. The flux density is moving in this direction, here, here and here, right? And then here. So it gets spread out. So now I have to now create a reluctance for this part, this core and this core. Okay, which is 10 centimeters. And then I can create a reluctance for this core. Actually this particular reluctance is in series, so I can add all three reluctances, these guys 1, 2 and 3. I can convert it into a series 1 reluctance. Similarly, I can create one reluctance for this part, this length. Okay, similarly I can create one reluctance for this guy and this guy, since they are in series. Okay, and then the air gap reluctance will be separate because it has a different mu. So right now what I have created here is, so this is the equivalent circuit. Okay, this is the equivalent circuit which is redrawn. What I have done here is, this part of the circuit which is of length 10 centimeters is converted into reluctance which is R43. Okay, this part of the circuit which is having a length of 20 centimeters, 10 centimeters here along this vertical line axis, and this the lateral arm that is around 20 centimeters. So that is converted into a reluctance of R41. I could have done a complete one reluctance only because they are in series. R43 and R41 is in series. I could have taken a length of 30 centimeter directly. We will do that, but for starters, let's just separate it out so that we understand that in series they come to the same value. Same thing is done on this side. R32 is converted. This arm is converted into a reluctance of R32, and this arm here from 2 to 1 is converted into a reluctance of R21. Okay, so same thing is done for this part here. So R35 is converted into a reluctance which is this arm, and R61 is converted into a reluctance which is R61. Okay, and this 400 turns of coil with a current I is converted into a MMF source which is given as F. Okay, and RA, which is this part here, this part here is a air gap reluctance. Okay, so this is the equivalent electrical circuit that we have redrawn, or magnetic circuit that we have redrawn, which looks similar to the electrical circuit. So now to find out R43, or first let's find out RA. RA is a air gap reluctance, right? So air gap reluctance here in this case, so air gap reluctance here is having a length of 1 centimeter, right? So we know that the formula for RA is R reluctance is L by mu S. L here is 1 centimeter. Mu is it's air, so mu will be same as your mu naught, which is 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7. And your area of the cross section, we are neglecting the fringing fields. So we are assuming that the whatever magnetic field is created, it's moving as if it's confined in a confined manner. It's not going anywhere else. It's not bulging. So it's totally flowing in a confined manner. So what we will, or guided manner. So what we are assuming is the same cross section. So cross sectional area will be 10 centimeter square. So 10 into 10 raised to minus 4. So I plug in the values. I get a value of 1 by 4 pi into 10 raised to 8. ampere turn per Weber. Okay. Now coming to R41. For R41, which is this arm here, the length is 20 centimeters. Okay, which is given here, which is here it will be 20 centimeters, 20 into 10 raised to minus 2 divided by mu. Now mu will change because it's a core which has got a mu of 50 mu naught. So 50 into 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7. 10 raised to minus 7 is here, and 10 into 10 raised to minus 4 is the cross sectional area. So what I get here is 0.4 by 4 pi into 10 raised to 8. That's same as if you look at closely here, this length is also same and it's having the same core. So this reluctance and this reluctance will be exactly same. So R21 and R41 will be exactly same. Same thing, same way R43 and R32 will be same. And the thing is, since the length here is 10 centimeters, this here for this guy it was 20 centimeters. So your reluctance for this section will be exactly half of the R41. So R43, which is equal to R32, okay, which is this y here and this one. The length is 10 centimeters. Length is 10 centimeter into 10 raised to minus 2 divided by mu s will remain same. Mu s is 50 mu naught. Divide into cross sectional area is 10 raised to minus 3, which is 10 centimeter square. So what I get is 0.2 into 0.2 by 4 pi into 10 raised to 8. This is one more value I get, and now the remaining one is this part, the near to the coil. So this part, the length is 4.5 centimeters. For this part, the length is 4.5 centimeters. So I will get R35, which is same as R61, which will be equal to 4.5 into 10 raised to minus 2 divided by mu s. Mu s will be the same thing, and you will get a value of 0.09 into 10 raised to 8. So I can actually convert this complete R35, RA and R61. All three are in series. So I can add them up and I can create a equivalent series resistance, which is reluctance or series reluctance, which is R35 plus R61 plus RA. R35 and R61 is 0.09, right? Both are 0.09 and RA is 1. Okay, 1 into 10 raised to 1 into 10 raised to 8 divided by 4 pi, right? So if I add the 3, I get a value of 1.18 into 10 raised to 8 divided by 4 pi. Okay. So now this here RP1 is equal to R41. Sorry. So this is done. So now okay. So RP1 here. What I am doing next step is I am adding this R41 with R43 and I am creating one resistance which is called as one reluctance which is called as RP1. So RP1 is equal to R41 plus R43. So that is 0.4 plus 0.2. So this comes to 0.6. So same as RP2. RP2 also will be like the other arm, right, this side. So it will be same as your 0.2 plus 0.4. So what you will get here is 0.6 by 4 pi into 10 raised to 8, which is, so what I am doing here is nothing but I am just adding this series reluctances 1 and 2, creating one reluctance which is RP1, adding this 1 and 2 and creating another series reluctance RP2, adding these three reluctances R35 and R61 and RA, creating another reluctance which is series RS reluctance. Okay, so what I will get is equivalent circuit will be something like this: RP1, RP2 and RS. Okay, now if I look at it, RP1 and RP2 are in parallel. RP1 and RP2 are in parallel. So I can find out the parallel equivalent reluctance, which is RP1 in parallel with RP2. Okay, and what I'll get is 0.6 into 0.6 into 10 raised to 16 divided by 4 pi r square divided by 0.6 plus 0.6 into 10 raised to 8 divided by 4 pi. So the equivalent resistance Rp will be equal to 0.3 divided by 4 pi into 10. So then so R equivalent, now the whole thing is, this is the equivalent circuit that you get. From here I have taken an equivalent reluctance of Rp1 and Rp2, created this Rp, right? Rp, and now this Rp is in series with Rs. By using Ohm's law, what I get is, first I'll find out the equivalent reluctance, Rs plus Rp, which is 1.48 divided by 4 pi, right? Because 0.3 is this Rp, Rs is 1.18. 1.18 plus 0.3, I get it as 1.48 into 10 raised to 8 divided by 4 pi. I know that the Ohm's law states that MMF equal to flux into reluctance, right? So equivalent reluctance is this. So this is the equivalent reluctance, Rp plus Rs. So F, so the flux is given as B into the S, cross sectional area. So B into S into R equivalent is equal to MMF. MMF is given as N into I. So only unknown here is I. Rest everything will be known. I plug in the values and I get a value of 44.16 amperes. B is 1.5 Weber per meter square. S is 10 centimeter square. 10 into 10 raised to minus 4. R equivalent reluctance is 1.48 into 10 raised to 8 divided by 4 pi, and the number of turns is 400. So I get a equivalent, I get a current which is necessary is 44.16